States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Craig, roll call, please.
Commissioner Masisco? Here. Commissioner Walk?
Here.
Commissioner Hanson?
Here.
Commissioner Benedict?
Here.
Commissioner Toma?
Here.
Commissioner Evans?
Here.
President Walz?
Here. I'd like to acknowledge we had an executive session on March 18th, 2024 at 6 p.m. and April 1st, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. to discuss legal and personnel matters. Okay, preliminary motion. First, I'd like to thank the Honorable Judge Beth Mills for making our meeting tonight. We gave her short notice, and I know we're all very appreciative of that. Okay, motion to hire Jacob Powell as a Class E patrolman beginning April 15, 2024 at the hourly rate determined by the current Uniform Collective Bargaining Agreement. Mr. Powell is ranked number 1 on the current Elizabeth Township Civil Service list. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Walk?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walz?
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Powell.
I, Jacob Powell, being duly appointed as police officer for the Township of Elizabeth, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth and all the rules and regulations of the Township of Elizabeth, and I will discharge my duties with fidelity.
Sure. Jacob comes to us early in his professional career. This will be his first full-time job, and we hope his last. Jacob will be our 20th sworn team member and our 21st member of our police department. So, as the commissioners behind me have committed to making this not only a great place to live, but Jacob will be a participant in making it the safest place to live as well. So, we welcome him aboard and look forward to him starting the field training program on the 15th and having a long, successful, safe career here in Elizabeth Township and eventually become a resident, raising a family here like we all do. So we want to thank his family for being here today to support him, Honorable Mills, and the community to come out to witness this very important moment in his life. So congratulations again, Jake.
Saying I trained you before that.
Need anything else from you?
Thank you. That might have been back in April 16.
Yes, that's the only one.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have department reports. Code enforcement, Chris House is absent today, so we'll give him up, get a report from him. Engineer, Kevin, thank you.
I should have a copy of my March 22nd report review. Boston Community District projects continuing. The last piece of the puzzle is the equalization basin. Work is continuing on that. We anticipate that all substantially complete work will be done by the end of May or early June, and all of the just restorations and constant payment is in that. The MS4 program phase 1 with Sweet Construction is continuing along. They have an April 30th end date, and they feel confident that they're going to hit that date at this point. Jacktown low volume dirt and gravel road, the plans and specs are complete. That's for the milling, repaving the driveway portion of it. We're just awaiting authorization and direction from the board on when we feel comfortable getting that out. So we're just waiting for that. Other than that, we haven't taken any questions in the cup.
Any questions for Kevin?
Yeah, just that, the Highland Meadows.
Yes.
Can you, let us know where we're at with that?
Sure. So the contracts were signed by the contractor, Algrande, and I was off last week, so the contracts from the township were waiting to be in my mail pile. So tomorrow, a notice to proceed will be issued to the Algrande, and they'll start to do their submittals and things of that nature. So I'd like to say, notice to proceed will be, probably we usually give about a week or two, so say notice to proceed starting April 15th or 16th, somewhere around there.
All right, when you go to do that, I'd like to be part of it, when we start doing those conversations.
Sure.
And we did with, Rockford Court.
Like to be at the pre-construction meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Kevin, I actually have one as well. For those in the audience that have been following along, can you give an update and hopefully a, estimation on completion for the dioxide system?
Sure.
Okay.
So all the dioxide was installed, delivered and installed last week. And for lack of a better term, it's on a giant extension cord. So because of the compressed nature, when they were able to deliver, Allegheny City was able to be down there to pull the permanent wire through the conduit. They're doing that this week. So weather depending, we're hoping that the true startup of permanent power is going to be later on this week.
Is it running now?
We've done some tests on it. We've seen the first batch of test data on it. And we feel, with looking at it with Evoqua, that it's going to require far less dioxide than like Evoqua was telling us during the bid. So it'll help you on your long-term chemical costs.
Okay, and just from my understanding, so there's I might be wrong on this because it's just how I see it in my head. It's hooked up to the Buena Vista station
Correct.
and also Boston.
No, in the future, Boston's coming next.
Okay.
We're gonna get Buena Vista because that's the.
And then it flows to Boston.
Yeah, then it flows to Boston. The reason why there's the area of Boston is because of the long journey from Buena Vista in terms septic. It's something called hydrogen sulfide H2S. That's the odor and its corrosive nature to certain types of equipment. So we're eliminating that chemically with this dioxide, which is a chemical reaction to eliminate hydrogen sulfide.
So this is good news for the people that are affected by the smell in the Boston area.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, police, Ken?
Sure. Just two things outside of my written report that I submitted to the board that I wanted to highlight, just as I spoke to just now and this morning, Mr. Powell. I want to thank the commission board for their continuous investment in public safety and just highlight two things that we've recently done here in the township that are relevant to that. The first is on the 20th of March, we conducted a motor carrier enforcement DOT detail with our COG partners over the West Elizabeth community. And although I know that even with our first public meetings that we had when we started the DOT program, I know it's not fawned over by many of our local business owners and industrial sites where there's commercial traffic that comes in and out. Each and every time we have one of these events, this one was well attended by not only regional DOT officers, but also the state decided to participate. the second thing I wanted to just highlight briefly was, related to our, license plate reader, traffic cameras that we've, placed in our community. We just recently, the most recent one was at Route 4851. And, we shared those images in that database with our local law enforcement partners. 2 weeks ago on the Parkway East near Greensburg Pike on Friday evening, there was a road rage incident where a young lady was shot in her vehicle. The car was at large, and DSP ran into several detours related to locating the subject. But our Bell Vernon barracks and the crime investigations unit utilized our LPR system to find out that a suspected vehicle in that case was coming through our 51 corridor, heading into Lost River Township. And last Thursday evening, DSP troopers from the Bell Vernon barracks were successful in not only locating but making an arrest related to that shooting. Now, of course, all subjects are considered innocent until proven guilty in court of law. But it's just another example of some of the benefits, not only to the Elizabeth Township Police, but our regional partners on this technology and what it brings to our mission of public safety. So thank you all, and I'll continue to bring to you guys, events like this that bring focus to how important it is for the township police to continue to invest in modern technology and utilize it, not just internally, but share with our law enforcement partners. So it's a benefit to everybody that travels in and out of our area.
Thank you. Any questions for Ken? Can you give an update on where we're at with the Lovedale license plate reader?
Sure. The Lovedale license plate reader at Lovedale Broadlawn and Cedarby Drive was delayed 4 weeks due to an unexpected Peoples Gas legacy pipeline replacement. They had to do a little bit more work tearing up the intersection across Broadlawn than they originally anticipated. And based on the dig rules related to public utilities, our project unfortunately was moved back as it wasn't an imminent thing. So we anticipate those cameras being up and running by the summer months. I don't want to give a hard date right now because I don't have it, because it has to be a combination of our license plate vendor and Comcast getting the internet services to that location. But we look on adding that as an additional internal resource for a heavy traffic area inside our community.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Public Works, Tom.
Thank you, Commissioner Walls. We had 2 minor icing incidents in the morning that were treated fairly quickly. Next year's winter salt order for 24-25 has been placed at over 2,800 tons of salt. We removed the sidewalk between the steps in front of Building 1. This was in preparation of the large oak tree removal that's overhanging that building. During inclement weather, we've still been making small improvements to the DPW building. The new Leroy 8520C asphalt paver was ordered. It should be available the second week of April. The old 8500 paver sold at auction last week for $45,700, and this was more than the offered trade-in value of $35,000. The Boston stormwater upgrades are making good progress. We're combining multiple pipes into one system and regrading streets for improved access and drainage. The drainage inlets around the township are being repaired. When we come across, we're diligently trying to get those upgraded. Crews have made improvements to the industry ball field in preparation for the spring baseball season. That was also due to some drainage issues. Tree trimming at the Boston playground and boat ramp cleaned up diseased trees, and we cleaned up garbage and waste scattered around the Boston playground area, and patched large holes in depressed areas at the boat launch access road. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Tom? I don't mean to always be the one with questions, but I do have a couple. So two questions. I know that there was, well, first of all, to remind the public, I think some people tend to forget, or maybe they're not aware, if there's a pothole issue on a township road,
Yes.
we have a portal on our website, correct?
Yes.
Under DPW, under Department of
Under the Public Works page, yes.
that if you fill this out, in my understanding and my experience, Tom's crew has been very, very, very quick to resolve those issues. respectfully, if you put a post on Facebook and you don't fill out this form, don't expect a result. It needs to be, follow the process. It's a pretty simple process. I personally went on it myself just to test it out. I think it's really convenient, and their response has been great. In the few cases I'm aware of. And then the other question I had was, and I briefly brought it up to you, but I know we had a situation where a large truck was stuck on Renzi Road up on the hill.
Correct.
My question was, obviously that's an issue for multiple reasons, not just closing down the road for a short period of time, but it can be dangerous. Is there more we can do to add more signage to the entrance from our perspective, from our standpoint?
GPS is taking that way.
Okay.
I've come across trucks and chased them down and asked where their destination was. They said the Boston Bridge, and I said, you're not going this way. It's their GPS units routing them a shorter distance than the out around 48 way. We could add signage, but they're following their GPS. There's a better than average chance they're just gonna drive right by them. It's a 10-ton weight limit already, which would eliminate every tractor trailer, but they're just driving right through.
I was just thinking that if we put, bright signs, more signs, where there's still an opportunity for them to veer into a different direction, that could help.
Okay. Would we put them on Renzi, like where the auto parts store, or is this something that would have to be a previous?
I would lean on
The red
the
lights.
committee, yourself, to maybe make a recommendation. I just think myself, I live up there, I drive up there every day. I will not tell you a sign stands out to me. And there are certain signs throughout the township that stand out. They're very obvious. They're very, they're there for a reason. I don't recognize a sign when driving up there. So, although for a lot of people that might be common sense, not to drive a tractor trailer up that hill, some people would say.
They don't know that, and unfortunately GPS is two-dimensional. They don't see the elevation change, let alone know that curve is at that angle. It's something you'd never expect, but perfect example is the covered bridge in Squigley Township. We put a gigantic red sign with a red blinking light on it, and a month later, a guy went through it and smashed the bridge on an oversized trailer that was behind a pickup truck. So it's aggravating that you do this work and you try and.
You can lead a horse to water,
You
right?
can't lead a horse to water. We can do something to improve the signage. It's just the GPS units are taking those.
Unless there's a commissioner that disagrees, I'd like you to consider that, just
Sure.
look into it.
We can get something together and I'll present it to the board with an idea, a sign idea. Chief, do you have a?
I've lived up there for about 5 years. It's happened more than I can count. It does happen. So I just thought there's maybe something we can do.
The last point of getting them off that road is Ridge, correct?
I was gonna say, maybe consider something like at the level of a railroad crossing, like size, signage wise.
Oh, it's gonna be big.
Divert them to Holsing, which would be technically their last left-hand opportunity before they
Get,
boogered up on the hill yet.
would we be able to get them out of Folsom? Once they're in there, they're trapped.
Yeah, pretty much. Mead would be your last chance to even turn around.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, can you look into that?
Sure.
I can also ask PennDOT if we can hang something from the traffic signals that said no trucks. That's a possibility.
We can do a site visit if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, sanitary, Dennis?
Thank you. You have our written report, our stations are running well. We're eager to get the dioxide system up and operational as warmer temperatures approach. That's when the odors typically manifest themselves. In the interim, we're putting in an odor neutralizer. That seems to be keeping the odors at bay when we do have intermittent warm days.
Any questions for Dennis? Thank you, Jim. Solicitor, Matt?
I don't have anything outside the items we discussed in executive session.
Any questions for Matt? Thank you. And then Township Manager, Craig.
Thank you, President Walls. We had a blood drive since the last commissioner meeting. We had 14 donors. It was very successful. We plan to have a couple more throughout the course of the year. We're shooting for 4 a year. So thank you to everyone who came and donated blood at that event. A little bit of bad news, we were denied a Fish and Boat Commission facilities grant that we had submitted a couple months ago, about maybe 6 or 8 months ago. The reason, they called me personally, this was very nice, instead of just informing by letter. There was not enough information related to power boating, and the way that the gentleman explained it was that this particular grant is funded by power boating licensing. So it's not, the Occoquan is not a very, it is a lot of power boats, I believe, but you don't see a whole lot of them. So, that went back to Commissioner Kuzma, Representative Kuzma, excuse me, and he talked to them. And they are gonna, accept an amended application past the deadline, so we're gonna start working on that. But that's gonna be strictly for the boat launch itself, not for the extension off of the boat launch into the riverside. So I'm gonna, speak to all of you and see what you might wanna do with that particular application, and see what kind of improvements you might make. But they will accept it according to him, and then reconsider it.
Well, that's really nice, they're gonna allow for an amendment on this, because there are a considerable number of power boats that go into to both Buena
Well-
Vista and Boston.
Well, the ask wasn't directly related to power boats. It was more for the residents to go along the riverside, fishing. It was mostly fishing oriented, fishing access,
I see.
picnicking access, benches and rest. So now we know for next time, or for the amended one. So they are going to accept that, so we'll start writing that right away. On another grant note, the two DCNR grants that we've been working on are due on Wednesday. I did receive a final rendering and cost estimate from PDDM for the Chapel Drive Phase 1, and sat down with Palm about our in-kind contributions. So just to remind, the DCNR grants are 50% match, but it is our effort to include as much in-kind matching as we can. So we're gonna actually break the numbers down tomorrow on the actual budget template for the application before we submit it tomorrow afternoon. But our general in-kind contribution, well, the total project cost came in at around 400,000. Our in-kind was approaching 250,000, super reasonably. So we're going to submit that, which means that our final ask for the one for Chapel is going to be about 150,000, and that's well within their grant range. They tend to not give you more than 200,000 at one ask. And then the second one was for a comprehensive recreational plan throughout the township for all open spaces and all parks. And that one's at 100,000. That would be a 50,000 match from the township and a $50,000 ask from the DCNR. So those go in tomorrow, and we hope to hear about those soon. We still do have 4 LSA grants out there. We haven't heard anything. But I do have a meeting with Bob Gola not next week, the week after next. But I'll figure out what's going on. We just haven't heard. I'm sure they haven't decided. We haven't heard one way or the other. I did want to mention that I was received a notice from Allegheny County Public Works that they're going to start paving and stormwater improvements on Simpson Howell Road. I don't know, Tom, if you've heard anything.
Not further past that.
Okay, I'm under the assumption as soon as the season breaks open here, they're going to start. So again, we'll post on website and social media if there's any kind of traffic diversions, but that's really good news. They're going to do the entire section from, I guess, all the way.
Scenery.
Yeah, all the way up to, no, not scenery, all the way up to Fallen Timber. They're going to stop Fallen Timber all the way down to the, what does it intersect? Round Hill? Round Hill, yeah. So that whole section. That's stormwater and paving. And they were trying to put a bike lane there with a grant, if you remember. Commissioner Kane was talking about that for a while, but that kind of fell through, so.
That was my question, because I know that they actually marked out and started paying lines in the summer for that.
Oh, so they might include?
So, because I had a couple residents call me about it and asked, what's this, they were marking
Okay.
along, so that's why I was questioning, are they anticipating the growth of that, or is it just paving
they're ending bike lane.
Okay.
I don't think they are.
Okay,
Those markings may have been stormwater, I'm not sure, it's possible.
it's possible, I know it was going into people's yards, it was going out far,
Stormwater.
that could be some,
Yeah, they made no indication they were gonna add a bike lane.
okay.
Two more quick things. The property on Moray Lane that was donated to us by the school district, I met a county real estate appraiser down there because we're trying to get it to be tax exempt. We haven't paid taxes on it, but we keep receiving tax bills. Unbeknownst to me, it's a whole process of, I had to write the application, send it in, and then I had to meet her there, and she had to check the property, she wanted to go inside, but I recommended that she did not. And she took a bunch of pictures, and so that's in the process to get that tax exemption, but the reason I bring it up tonight is that she strongly recommends that we and the board consider demoing that as soon as possible, just to help the tax exemption status. The sooner we demo it, the sooner they can make their decision. They're very cautious about how they approach tax exemptions, because I guess, yeah, it's Raceway.
This is Raceway.
Sorry, it's Raceway.
It's been like a year ago conversation, so I don't know why we're waiting.
I just gotta figure out how to do it, when to do it, how to pay for it.
Let's go on, right? Carry it out.
Yeah, it's coming down. It's completely filled, though, completely filled to the walls with junk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's junk's gotta go with it too, so,
Talking about Ray's Way.
We talked about this in the code committee meeting, so.
Yeah.
we addressed it, so.
yeah, I think we need to start considering how and when we're gonna demo it and how we're gonna pay for it. And then lastly, we're making our transition, we've made our transition from QuickBooks internally, from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online for our bookkeeping. Very important, but, tricky switch. As I mentioned before, we went from hundreds of accounts to just a couple dozen accounts. We've been working with, Jamie and Joyce on the journal entries, most importantly, so that as we spend money, we're tracking it. The budget, though, from the budget actual, so the actual budget numbers that we agreed on at the January 1st meeting have not completely transitioned over. The numbers made it, but they didn't dump into classes like they were supposed to. Point of all this is that we're just about a week away from having that fixed. I will start to give you budget versus actual reports like I used to. I just haven't been able to do it. And then maybe more importantly is I'm gonna ask to have a budget finance meeting maybe after a week or two. And our accountant agreed to join us, and her and I would go over the new sort of accounts, how to read the new reports, what's capable, just a new way to look at it, a new way to understand it. If you'd rather have that during a workshop meeting, I can arrange that also, just however you want to handle it. I thought I would start with the committee, because it is drastically different. All the information's there, but it's just presented in a different way. So it's just gonna take a little bit of getting used to. And I know Chief Honix patiently waiting for his. So if that's, you guys agree with that, is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Of course, you just stated it, we can't really have that meeting until we're up and running with
Yeah,
this.
there would be no
So,
point in it.
No, there's no point.
Right.
So I would welcome that a lot.
If you need expense numbers, we have them, we just don't have budget versus actuals, that's all, until the end of this week. And that's my report, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Any questions for Greg? Okay. That's all the department reports. On to committee reports. Budget, finance, grants, legislation, and general government. Budget and finance did meet this month, and we discussed one of the items on the agenda, and that's all we discussed for this month. Code enforcement?
Yes, we did meet on March 22nd. It was our first meeting with our new subcommittee. Important one, establish a few in-house protocols. Just a couple of different ideas to get a direction of the community and what we're gonna do on the code side of things, and a way to communicate with each other and establish a little bit of a better language so we're all seeing things the same, so we can get a better direction. Very productive meetings.
Thank you. Okay, Parks and Recreation?
Ironically, we didn't meet this
this month. We've met like every week for the past couple months. But I did talk to PDDM today and just give you an update on Boston Field. Their pre-construction meeting will be Wednesday. They have another meeting tomorrow with the conservation. And then Thursday, they should start mobilizing, and you'll see some dirt being graded and get moving on the ball field. So, and they offered actually to come in if we wanted to on a work session or whatever to update us during that process. So I'll throw it out there if you guys want them to. He's willing to send somebody to give us an update monthly or whatever.
I think it'd be great.
I think that'd be a good idea.
So maybe next meeting I'll ask them to come and they'll give a little more insight.
I'll also volunteer to go to these progress meetings. I mean, they're gonna have those weekly, I would guess, and I'm available to do that during the day, so that would be probably worth it.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, looks like we're gonna get off and rolling on it, so I'm excited to see what happens. That's it for me.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, community events.
That's me. I don't believe we have anything currently coming, but I would just like to thank our frontline ladies, Joyce, and the rest of them. They do a fabulous job on putting some of these things together and organizing and making sure that everything is good. So thank you. You're not listening to me.
This is Jamie.
Yeah, and thank you, Mike. Just to touch on that, we did hold our annual Easter event last weekend. Yeah. We had a very special visitor from the Easter Bunny. I think he was a wonderful Easter Bunny, probably the best Easter Bunny. But you know, I think it was a great event. The kids seemed to have a good time, and I was very happy with the turnout. It seems like the public really got involved. A lot of kiddos. I think there was a line for probably at least 45 minutes, you know, to take a picture. The staff and everyone that was involved, whether that be the DPW or, you know, the admin or Greg or everyone, you know, commissioners volunteered. I thought it was a really wonderful event that, you know, people can come to and enjoy. And it's, I think it's free. Is it? Yes. It's free to the residents. So I thought it was really wonderful. I enjoyed it. And now that I have little children of my own, you know, it kind of brings a different meaning to it for me. So, you know, I think it's really important. So good job for the community events. Okay. Personnel? Okay. Public safety and public works.
So, we did meet with, our firefighter leaders. One of the, several of them were due to our meeting that we just got. For ET, we had Adam Chinosko, the first time in our meeting. We talked about different things that we could do better as a team, not only with our communication with fire departments, but also with us, and how we can, you know, just kind of like 10,000 foot view of the whole process. And it was mostly an idea meeting, and some of those ideas will be coming to fruition, but nothing to report as of yet on that.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, sanitation and stormwater?
There was no official meeting of this committee this past month. A few behind discussions behind the scene, like tonight we talked with Kevin in our executive session. Ongoing discussions with Sutersville, Swickley. Jamie and I worked on some billing for these guys, so nothing official from the committee, but we're still in their plot.
Very good. Thank you. Comprehensive plan?
We don't really have a report, we did not meet, I don't have a committee per se set up yet, but I did talk with several people from the county who do the comprehensive things to get an idea of what I would need to travel, what needs to be all on there and whatnot, hopefully without spending it on the way to do it. So
That's great. Thank you, Mike. Business development?
We do not meet this month.
Okay. Thank you. EFSD Collaboration Committee.
We did meet this month. Just for anyone who doesn't know, the collaboration committee was put together within the past 3 or 4 months to communicate school board, Elizabeth Borough, trying to put something together that's easily accessible so we can communicate, share resources, be a little bit smarter in our entirety. We did meet Commissioner Coma, actually has a proposal for Act 91 for the firemen, which we did adopt here previously at the township level. But the school was another part of it for tax credits for new firemen. The collaborative committee for the school was very open to it. This was the second time they were ready to ask us to bring it back to the table. So, good job, Commissioner Como. He's putting that together now. And we have some low-hanging fruit, we're calling it, things we're gonna try to think about the things we can share with the school and they can share with us that maybe we're double spending on and maybe cut a few costs. So it was a very productive meeting.
Very good, thank you. Redevelopment Authority?
Redevelopment Authority didn't meet. We did get a request from the solicitors for U.S. Steel asking for a copy of the Phase 1 environmental study that was completed. So it's a small step in the right direction. Nothing earth-shaking on that project.
Okay, thank you. And then Junior Commissioner.
I have nothing other than our doggy way stations were purchased. We should have them in 1 to 2 weeks. I think we got a 50% off discount.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Hey, can I ask a question? Once they're received, Tom, what do you think the timeline is to actually have them installed?
ASAP.
I like that word.
Yeah, I don't wanna store them, I don't wanna have them, I wanna get them out in the field as soon as I get them.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then Fire Department.
Elizabeth Township Fire Department responded to 46 calls for the month of March. It's an increase of 24% from February of 2024, and a 64% increase compared to March of 2023. As of the date of this report, the total calls we responded to was 142 for 2024, which is an increase from the first quarter of 2023 at 46%. Members participated in responding to natural gas incidents. Members reviewed responses to natural gas incidents for residential, commercial, and outdoor properties. Confined space rescue training was completed. Members attended completed confined space rescue training through Westmoreland County Community College. That training would include above ground storage tanks, underground manholes, sewage lines, things like that. Incident safety officer training was completed by members to recognize and prevent hazards and injuries at training incidents as well as active incidents. Total training man hours for that month was 76. There's upcoming training which will deal with hose line advancement, packing cross lays, technical rub rescue, station burn session. That'll be conducted at Westmoreland County Community College Public Safety Training Center out near Smithton. Hazardous materials annual refresher, emergency vehicle operator training. And our event for Dance Queen was pretty successful down at the Spectrum. Apparatus work on a new truck remains steady. That's taking place at Glick. It's anticipated to be completed in roughly 8 to 10 weeks. They made substantial steps forward with painting the truck and getting shelving, things like that done. And in the meantime, members went up to just make sure that the work's being completed to our standards and our satisfaction. So far so good with that. Equipment purchases, no significant equipment purchases were made during the month of March. However, various grants have been applied for. 2 significant ones. One was for bullet resistant vests, and another was for funding to rebrand the department. The purpose of that grant is basically get all of our trucks as part of the new truck purchase to look the same, to get them painted, striped, and then to purchase uniforms for the members. When we combine 3 different stations, each station kind of had its own identity. So the purpose of that grant, hopefully we get awarded for it, is to get the signage, uniforms and different things all as one. That's the report for April 2024.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna have a presentation from Commissioner Cisco, Waste Management Update.
I'll try to keep this a little bit shorter. It might take about 5 minutes or so, so hang in there. I wish the room building still with 6,000 households, but since it's you guys, you deserve to hear it the same way, so I'm not gonna shrink it for you. When we select these contracts and we put them out, it goes through a process of the bidding process where you can't make people do the garbage how you want them to. We were part of SHACOG, which is a council of governments from us all the way down 51 to South Fayette. There's about 20 different municipalities that share resources, including put things out for bid, and historically it's been lucrative to do that. So we did the same thing. The previous board did this last June or July. They sent it out for bid, and we got a couple bids back from Westmoreland and from Waste Management, our current carrier. You look at them, you decide which one makes the most sense. You get guided in a particular way from SHACOG's contract, since it isn't ours. SHACOG kind of handles it, and we put the faith in it that it's going to work out in our favor. The previous board picked the waste management portion. You're looking at two and say, well, I guess this is the one. This is one better than the other. You can't make other people bid that process, so you kind of take the one that you got. People ask, why didn't you ask for this? Why does it work like that? You put it out. They say, here's what we're willing to do. You either select one or you say no, thank you. The previous board picked the terms of waste management. There were some tricks that happened in about August. Come December, when it got announced what everybody in the municipalities did and everybody who picked their garbage, ours was a little bit of a head scratcher. We were the only outlier that picked a particular model of garbage and recycling combination that didn't really fit into the paperwork that SHACOG had. Now, we brought it to their attention, to Waste Management, and they scratched their head a little bit too. In their defense, we awarded the contract and they were going to operate under it in 3 or 4 days, January 2nd. We questioned it. They held status quo for all of January until we ironed it out. We fought a little bit for it. In their defense, they said, well, you want us to do, you picked it. Then we reopened it because we looked a little bit deeper, and then they concurred that there were some issues with the way the one we selected was written. So instead of taking our garbage from 15 bags, and people call it unlimited, but 15 bags laying out on the street or your can or whatever you use, they reduced it down to a 5-bag limit, which you guys all may have seen come out at the end of December. It was going to cut our garbage in a third and put our rate at an entirely different rate. A lot of people say, how can the rate jump so much? Well, these are 5 years at a time. The last time this contract was put in place was 2019. So in 5 years, everybody can attest to their grocery bill or gas or whatever you're dealing with, you're going to see a higher rate. So when we saw the rate go up and we saw the garbage cut in a third, we said, well, hold on, something's a little bit off. It was, but it was more of a semantical game, and it was an odd writing we're the only ones that picked a manual garbage and an automated recycling because we had the blue bins. It was odd. Waste Management agreed. We figured out a way to solve the Rubik's Cube to get us the minimum expense for people who use less garbage, while getting people a second can who are going to be using more garbage. We had to find a way to not beat up the high garbage users and make the low garbage users pay for it. How do we solve that? Waste Management was very diplomatic in communicating with us. Matt Kunis dug into it very deeply, figured out how we could fit this the best, and we think we came up very positive with it. The terms are going to get amended tonight, and that's why we're talking about it tonight. Number 8 on the paper here. We're going to be voting on changing what our terms we already agreed to and are supposed to be enforced. We see it as a very mutually beneficial agreement with Waste Management. We are going to stay with them. We are going to have the 5-year contract. And what's going to happen in return, I'm going to round some numbers for you here. Each household pays about $29 a month, and it was going to reduce to 5 bags. We said, well, we can't take people from 15 to 5. What can we do here? How can we get an extra can? We're going to have to pay more money and so on. What we came up with to stay in the realm of the SHACOG contract so that it doesn't affect other municipalities, we're going to have a low volume garbage rate. It'll be $3 less. That means instead of $29 a month, you pay $26 a month. It's the lowest allowable rate by Shaycock. So if you are using, give you a reference, your blue recycling bin is a 64 gallon can. If you pick that can, or maybe you're a household that has one kitchen garbage bag, you can get a 35 gallon can. These are Waste Management provided cans, so that we can go to the automated service. You'll pay $3 less a month. If you are a household that uses one large can, they're 96 gallons. That's a third bigger than the blue recycling can. It's a very big can. You get that can, and anybody who wants one can get a second can for no additional cost. Your price will remain $29. You can get a big can and another big can. Or if you wanted a big can and a medium-sized can, there's some different ways to do it. One thing you cannot do, you can't say, I'll take two 35-gallon cans and I'd like the discount. Can't do that. The only way you get the discount is if you use one smaller can. And that's gonna be quite a few people. We did the numbers on it to see how many people that would affect. So we adjusted on both sides. If you use less garbage, you pay $3 less a month. Not $1 million, but it's the minimum we can go to with Shaycock. The people who are gonna be in trouble that can only put out 5 bags, there's quite a few people that have more than 5 bags. You get 2 very large cans, no increase in rate. It was very important to us to not increase the price to anybody after a contract was already agreed to. So for us, we think it is very impactful to get an after-the-fact change contract in automated. Not a very, it's pretty rare occurrence. Waste Management played ball. They did a good job working with us, and we're happy for the result. Ultimately, we go to automated service, which will mean they come in with the machine, pick it up, dump it in. The other communities and the other information we're getting, it's a cleaner, better system. It just makes the township look better. We didn't want to do that at the expense, the previous board didn't want to pick that option last year because it was going to restrict how much garbage was taken. So we kind of ended up on the better side of things accidentally after the fact because the contract was written kind of oddly for the version that we picked. I just wanted to let everybody know that that's what we're going to be voting on. We're optimistic that it's going to make us look better. It's going to be cleaner. It's going to be more eco-friendly, but it isn't really going to affect anybody's garbage haul. Nobody's going to say, oh, I can't put stuff out. And lastly, we're going to have the same schedules of bulk items. So you'll have a bulk item once a month. Once a month then? Yeah. So a once a month bulk, and I forget the exact schedule on that, but 2 more things with it is we're going to notify the community via mail. Everybody's going to get information on we're going to get this rolled out as informative as possible and as public as possible. We don't expect it to take place till about June. So they want to do a rollout in June. They want to put it together, word it in a specific way that everybody knows what we're dealing with. And a couple other questions were things like, well, what do I do with my old garbage can? Valid question. There'll be 6,000, 7,000 garbage cans. What do you do with them? You can keep them. You can use them. You can use them as a backup, a reserve for non-perishables, or stuff your cardboard boxes in them and wait for the bulk month or whatever people do. But you could also put right on there, take my garbage can. Put a piece of paper on it or a marker. Waste Management will take your garbage can if you want to get rid of it. I think that's about all we have for now until we notify officially. But that is our vote tonight. We want to get ahead of it in case anybody had any questions beforehand, if we saw it on the agenda. It has been a 3 or 4 month process, and we think we're going to end up on the right side of it.
I mean, just to piggyback, Commissioner Masisko was critical in these discussions with Waste Management. He should be commended for the job that he did. This was particularly tricky because again, we were dealing with Shaycock created bid specifications and awards. So these were not our forms and our documents that we had to go through and peel through in order to come up with this solution. And so we believe what we've come up with in terms of solving the problem is going to help. I mean, nearly every user. I mean, I have a 96. I have 6 people in my household. I usually use 1. I have 2 of them at my house. Rarely I'll use 2, but generally just 1 even for me. And I'm pretty high volume user. We figure the 2 cans and having that option should resolve almost nearly everyone's concern in terms of the volume of trash. And then to be able to give other members of the community who don't use as much of the service, that low volume rate, I think is important too. So they're going to pay less because they don't use as much of the service. So again, we are working with Waste Management in order to get the information into all the residents' hands. In case there's any questions, I'm sure Greg will be fielding questions once that goes out. But we think this system will work really well. The first can, the only thing I think we didn't hit on is the first can that gets distributed after the end of the contract will be property of the residents. So those, regardless of whether Waste Management goes into the future or whether some other company takes over, that first can will be the property of the resident. So good job, Mr. Cisco. We know there'll be some questions. There'll be people that have concerns, but we truly believe this system will be better. This is the future of the service. I see everywhere where I'm going. No one's going to do anything but automated in the future for a number of reasons, and the cleanliness factor and other reasons. But that's where we're at.
I'd like to say something. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Cisco. Outstanding job working through this. I just want to reiterate that the current rate that you're paying right now is what you pay in the summer. If you want to have less, if you want a smaller can, you will pay less. So it's not like, oh, they're raising it up and then if I want a smaller can, I'll pay what I pay now. No, it's not going up. It's staying the same. You get up to 2 big cans, a big can, medium can, small can. But if you have a low volume, you can get a medium can or a small can. So if you're, somebody that has, a little bit older or whatever, those cans are a little bit harder for you to maneuver. Use the smaller can, you don't use much garbage, you'll pay a lesser rate.
I do have one more thing, Matt. Did we confirm, the large cans are large. I mean, the blue recycling bins, everybody has seen them. Again, 30 gallons bigger than that. You can stay at the full rate. I believe this is, you can do this. You can stay the full $29 and say, you know what, I want 2 medium cans.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you want 2, if you don't want the big one, it doesn't fit your garage right or whatever it is, you can say, I'll have 2 recycling bin styles and I'll pay the extra $3 a month just to have convenience to move around. That they're gonna be pretty flexible.
You won't pay the extra 3, you'll pay what
You'll pay the regular rate.
Yes.
Yeah, the rate will never move from the 29 and 30 or whatever it is, $29. So it won't go up. The only way that it would go up, in the odd chance that, someone like Matt needs a 3rd can and says, okay, I want a 3rd can. Well, then you have to buy that 3rd can. The $9 a month is what was previously said in the bid specs. But, sounds a little boring. I apologize for it dragging out for that, but there was, I wanted to be detailed so everybody understood it. Like I said, I wish there were 6,000 people here. We'll resend it out, re-answer these questions. If anybody needs anything, touch base anytime and I'll give you the details on the inside.
Also, I believe that, I'm correct on this, the first can that belongs to the household, whichever size that you would go with, are sort of customizable, I believe. They'll be red and black.
Well, they could be red and black. We
Okay.
weren't sure what we were gonna do yet with that.
Okay.
We could ask. One thing is, you could make it look like your community, but ours gets a little tricky because the second can they're gonna give, they're not gonna customize it. So then we wouldn't have the match or whatever. Do we let them just be gray and green and have them all the same? We'll decide on that soon, but it could be customized, but, we're getting a perk here where we get a second can. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet.
Okay. And then I think Greg had something to add.
Yeah, just a quick side note, but related, we do have extra recycling containers. If any resident needs a second one, Waste Management will charge you to pick it up. I don't have the rate on at the top of my head, but we have about 50 of them if you need more, and we will deliver them to your house. That's it, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, regarding to Waste Management from the board? Nope. Okay, public comment. Emil Burek. Please state your name. Please state your name and address for the record.
Emil Burek, 255 Scenery Drive. I just want to ask about there's, item 13, and then item 16. 13 is 5 homes, then 16 is almost the same amount of money. Is that for one big building or several? Or it's almost the same amount?
No, so each of those, 13 is to demolish, 5 properties.
Right.
Yeah, that's 820 Happy Hollow Road, 404 Park Avenue, 514 Graham Avenue,
Well, I
505.
don't even know, just, you
Sure.
know, I know there's
Yeah,
5.
yeah,
But
there's-
what's involved in the 16? Is that one building or
That's an additional 5.
another 5?
Correct.
Okay.
There's 10 properties total listed.
Okay. The only other question, I have 2. Item 14, litigation or something about
It
Jacktown
is,
Road?
yeah, I don't think it's a secret. Jacktown, we had issues with the contractor ended up having to be replaced, we were dealing with.
Oh, okay.
surety. It's
that
kind of a
answers that.
messy situation, so yeah, it's developing into.
Okay, I understand. And then 18, what's the remediation on, MS4? I'm not sure I understand that. And I'm done.
Those are, so we're under a consent decree to remove sediment from our stormwater system.
Oh.
So the phase 1 is 3, I'll call them retention ponds, Kevin may want to correct me. 3 retention ponds near Fox Run, 1 on Happy Hollow, and then 1 up to Stony Brook Park.
That's all.
Okay.
Easy one for you.
Thank you. All right. No resolutions, no ordinances, items for consideration. Non-expenditure items. Motion to approve the commissioner meeting minutes dated March 4th, 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Number 2, motion to approve the Commissioners' Workshop meeting minutes dated March 18th, 2024. I need a motion. Can I get a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, motion to appoint the following Elizabeth Township residents to the International Property Maintenance Code Appeal Board and Uniform Construction Code Appeal Board as recommended by the Elizabeth Township Building Inspector. Mark Kane, Dennis Campus, and Dan Poyer. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, yep, second? Second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Can I make a correction on that?
Sure.
They were not recommended by the building inspector. It was decided by the board through letters of interest.
Okay. Thank you. Number 4, motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Elizabeth Township and the Allegheny County District Attorney regarding public access to recordings from police-worn body cameras. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Oh,
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Chief, can you just give us a little sneak background on that?
Sure. As I shared in our public meeting, I believe, last month, the Elizabeth Township Police went live on a 100% body camera program for all on-duty patrol officers while in the communities we serve. With that comes an incredible amount of responsibility, and those cameras are constantly capturing people in their public and private lives. So with that comes potential litigation related to redactions for criminal, maybe even in some cases civil matters. So we felt it was in the best interest as a municipality from a litigation standpoint, possibly even as a fiduciary, for the costs associated with that being done through making the district attorney's office essentially the proprietor of the video once it's been captured, and then they make a decision, based on representing another 19 communities in Allegheny County, as to what should be and should not be released, to best protect that very private personal data that's being captured as our officers around in professional capacity recording while they're on duty.
Well, you really have my interest peaked. What's the length of time that it has to be kept? Just really curious about it.
The retention policy is established at the district attorney's office. Once we go into the MOU,
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, number 5, motion to proclaim April 2024 as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month in support of the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law, PA Act 287 of 1974. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Greg, can you explain what that is, please?
Yeah, sure. So I was contacted by our regional 811 representative asking for this support. It's really just a provided proclamation. President Walz will eventually sign if it's approved for the township, just in support of the 811 idea of calling before you dig. And they just like to gather that and then publicly state that all of these municipalities are behind it. So obviously we support it. It keeps people safe and away from harm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, expenditure items. Motion to approve the township bill warrant dated April 1, 2024 in the amount of $839.49. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walz?
Yes. Number 7, motion to approve the sanitary bill warrant dated April 1, 2024 in the amount of $392,146.05.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walz?
Yes. Number 8, motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Waste Management regarding solid waste collection services for the township. I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second? Second, Jim? Okay. Any discussion?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walz?
Yes. Number 9, motion to approve the quote from Nick Zapor to spray all township parks, pavilions, playgrounds, and athletic fields at a cost of $2,100. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I was gonna just mention that, it's not in the motion, it's for, bugs and pests, the entire field, infields, outfields. The grass, not for weeds. Public Works takes care of the weeds.
Commissioner Toma. do you
So
have some-
what this does is, so last year in Allegheny County, we had one of the biggest epidemics of mosquitoes and ticks, Lyme disease, etc. So it was one of the recommendations was to spray our public parks to help offset that potential danger. So this year we're being proactive and just picking up on what we did last year with this year, and it would be a continuation of that. So it would be the outfields, recreational parks, things along those lines, so that and it's several parts of it. We have Smithsdale, we have Highland Meadows, we have Stony Brook, we have Richard Mayha Memorial Playground. We also have the Boston soccer field. Boston baseball field is not going to be part of that. We have the Boston playground. We also have Twaley. We have, what else is on there? Industry, municipal, are all part of those parks and et cetera. So, for what we're getting, it's a really, comparable deal, but it helps protect our residents and our kids from those types of, like Lyme disease, mosquito bites, and et cetera. Especially down towards the river areas, it gets really bad. So that's what that's for.
Any other questions? You do? Okay. You're good? Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. Number 10, motion to approve expense reimbursement to Elizabeth Forward Youth Association for the maintenance of 7 ball fields in the township at a cost of $14,231. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
I abstain.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
I abstain.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. Number 11, motion to ratify the vote from March 22nd, 2024 to approve the extra work authorization from Maley and Maley and Sons, Inc. to add 219 feet of 7-foot-high chain link fence to the Buena Vista Pump Station property at a cost of $11,683.28. This expense will be paid for with Penvest loans. I need a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. Number 12, motion to ratify the vote from March 20th, 2024 to authorize Ackenhow Engineering to design a remediation solution for slide number 3 on Jacktown Road at a cost not to exceed $20,000. $14,420 of this cost was approved by the Board of Commissioners at the March 4th, 2024 voting meeting. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 13, motion to authorize the payment to Webster Metals and Recycling LLC for the demolition of 5 blighted structures in the amount of $49,000. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so I just, people was asking about there are 5 properties under, one on Happy Hollow, one on Park Avenue, one on Graham Avenue, Oxford Avenue, and one on Elizabeth Avenue for this particular one.
Okay. Roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 14, motion to ratify the approval of Strasburger, McKenna, Gutnick, and Gefsky to be retained as special counsel for all issues relating to the Jacktown Bridge project. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 15, motion to ratify the vote from March 21st, 2024 to allow the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary to use the community center for classes and waive the fee. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 16, motion to accept Rec Crew Demolition LLC as the lowest responsible bid for Shaycog 2022-BRP-007 blighted property demolition project at a cost of $47,470. The cost of this project is covered by an Allegheny County Act 152 grant. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to say that on this one, there's 2 houses on Smithdale Street and 3 on Margaret Street.
Okay. Roll call?
Now, this is also grant, which is
Yeah.
really nice.
Roll call.
I have one more question. So, like Emil said, the previous one says it's 5 houses, this one does not say it's 5 houses, but it is 5 houses, correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so there's, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, there's 3 on Margaret, there is 2 on Smithdale, but one's a regular house and one is a
duplex.
So there's 5 buildings, correct?
Okay.
Yep. Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes.
President Wall, before you proceed, Greg, can you give us an idea of where we are in the whole project? I think we're darn near at the end of these, right?
Yeah, I actually gave Mr. House 2 very, very isolated houses that I knew about.
That's it?
That's it, we're down to about that, and Braysway, in my opinion. That's it.
What's the roundabout number that have been done in the past 5 years?
I'm gonna say over the last 6 years, close to 100.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. Yeah, over the big swing.
I was guessing around 90 is about right.
Very good. Okay, number 17, motion to ratify the vote from March 22nd, 2024, authorizing PDDM Solutions to create a site plan and cost estimate for the Chapel Drive Phase 1 project at a cost of $4,380. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 18, motion to approve pay application number 3 from Sweet Construction Corp. for the MS4 Phase 1 remediation project at a cost of $40,612.50. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Masisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 19, motion to approve the painting and wall repair of the board chambers, lobby, and lobby hallways by Christopher M. Galeas Painting at a cost of $9,950. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you. Sure.
President Walls, I'll talk about this. So what the goal is here is to rehab what this inner chamber looks like, the hallway, and the hallway leading back onto here. It's gonna be a 2-tone painting, like we'll have an accent wall and different things like there. If you really look at some of the seams in here, some of the seams are coming apart. We have some peeling coming along that door. You can see a seam up in here, so we're definitely in need of some repairs. And I think that modernizing the look of this inner area and also our lobby and along the hallway where the bathrooms are from both sides, I think it'll be part of the plan that we were talking about before with adding some amenities out in the front there, some of the history and things like that, to rehab this. One of the other options are, or not options, but one of the items for that is to, we're gonna be putting a, kind of like I guess covering this window up, because we never open the windows, we never do anything, but you can still take it down if needed, but it's gonna have a panel in front of this window, and it's gonna actually have our township logo on it. So the whole room is gonna look a lot different. Also too, in the back here, you see there's bifold doors on the right-hand side. We don't have bifold doors where, and then on this side with this kitchen, so that we wanna make that the same. The doors are gonna be black, the sides are gonna be like what's that called? Grayish?
Yeah. Gray, I think gray, yeah. Initial gray and beige.
Yeah, gray and beige. So the back wall will be an accent wall with black trim, matching the baseboards along the sides. We think it'll actually look really well and bring, a newer look to our township, especially when we start broadcasting our meetings.
I'm gonna add to that a little bit.
Sure.
So, similar to owning your own house, Elizabeth Township, our board recently met and has really doubled down on the idea of extending the life of this building for as long as possible. When you compare that, what was this building built, 60 years ago? 60 plus years ago, okay. So when you look at the cost of maintaining, improving, investing into this building compared to building a new building, it just makes more sense. So, like I said, just like owning a home, there's upkeep, TLC, right? So we're hoping to just address some of the issues, and like Commissioner Thomas said, if you really walk around, which we did, you'll notice when you look, it's worse than it looks. And so we want to clean it up, and like he touched on, especially considering the fact that we're on the cusp of broadcasting our meetings to the public, so we want to really represent positively. Any other discussion or questions on that? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Vasisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 20, motion to approve the removal of 3 old radiators from the board chambers and the addition of 2 mini-split heating and cooling units by Haywood Refrigeration Service at a cost not to exceed, it's supposed to be $12,000. It's okay. Funds from the capital fund will pay for this improvement. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a little bit of discussion. Right now, this is heated in here by a boiler system, which is gonna be removed and sold, and that's gonna be a considerable amount of savings. Those radiators you see on the side, they'll be all gone, yay. The 2 splits that'll be put in here will actually cool this room, unlike what we have to deal with in the summer months. An example of that is there are 2 splits in the community center, building 3, which is a very similar sized, if not larger room to this, and they do a fantastic job. I'm really glad to see it pull the trigger on it. It's a good idea.
That chiller unit on the side of the building over here pulls 300 amps of electricity when it runs. So, there you go.
There you go.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Vasisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Watt?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
No.
Commissioner Benedict?
Yes.
Commissioner Toma?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
President Walls?
Yes. 21, motion to advertise for public work seasonal help at an hourly wage of $18 per hour.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to be clear to make sure that this is part-time work that can work up to 40 hours, meaning it's not benefits, it's a summer job for an hourly rate of $18, correct?
This is part-time work, Craig, correct?
That is correct. Seasonal.
Are we hiring 4 people again this year?
That's the board's pleasure, yes.
What do you need?
You can use up to 4, no more. That's all.
4? Last year you did 4, right?
Yes.
Well, we had 5 for a short time because Chris,
Right.
he was a little early and then he had to leave a little bit. So technically, we had 4 working most of the time. But
Correct. Yeah.
For a short time, we had 5.
Ready to put a quantification on that?
I would say up to 4.
Not to exceed 4
Yeah,
people.
not to exceed 4.
That's, I just didn't want to.
So should we amend it just to up to
Just
4,
verbally, yeah.
or to also say up to 40 hours is the part-time position? Or-
Well, I think that's probably clarified through the collective bargaining. I would just say,
Okay.
not to exceed up to 4.
Okay, do we need a motion to do that?
You already have a motion, so who made the motion?
I did. I will agree with that.
Amended to be reflect no more than 4.
I would agree with that.
Probably, I'll just say that. I don't know if I did.
Okay. And the only, one other part I want to add too is, one of the young men who participated in this program last year, I believe, he lives up in my ward. I know his dad, I talked to him a lot last year. And he was, in addition to the work we were receiving, the opportunity is really great for somebody young, kind of getting, spreading their wings into the world. A lot of times these are, college kids that are home for break, that kind of thing. I just think it's really a good opportunity, and similar to, I know some of the work that Commissioner Thomas has been working on, really emphasizing the need for Elizabeth Township to invest into our youth. I think that's a great thing. So, in addition to the work we're receiving, it's also a good opportunity for some young people. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Masisco.
Yes.
Commissioner Watt.
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yes.
Commissioner Benedict.
Yes.
Commissioner Toma.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.